Hello everyone, my name is Jane Fader-Siegel and I am the Program Director at Camp Felix of the New York Foundling. I have been involved with Camp Felix for 6 years now, and this training is designed as sort of something new we're trying this year, just to give you an opportunity to be introduced to everything that you need to know about Camp Felix and to go through the camper application on your own time. So the agenda for this training is as follows. This is going to be a two-part training. The first part is going to walk you through all the general information you need to know about Camp Felix, the dates for the summer, the camper requirements, transportation, Camp Felix staff, Camp Felix activities, safety at camp, the do's and don'ts for camp staff, and the sick camper policy. And we will also talk a little bit about frequently asked questions. I'll give you answers to those. And part two is going to focus specifically on the application. I'm going to walk you through the application piece by piece, and we're going to fill it out together. So Camp Felix was founded in 2006. The summer is going to be our 12th summer. Camp Felix is for current and prior New York Foundling clients only. It's located in Putnam Valley, New York, which is about 60 miles north of New York City. As in previous summers, we will have 4 sessions this summer, starting on July 31st and ending on August 25th. Each session is Monday through Friday only. Everyone goes home for the weekends. We do not have campers stay at camp for the weekends ever. We plan on being at full capacity this summer, so as during the previous summers, we are limiting all campers to 2 sessions only. If there is space that opens up at the last minute and people ask for extra sessions, I will just have to let them know at the last minute if something is available or not, and that will be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. In order to attend Camp Felix, children must be current or prior New York Foundling clients. If prior clients, we will accept children whose cases were closed after April 2016. So anyone whose case was closed before April 2016 is not eligible. Siblings, biological or foster siblings, are able to join their brother or sister at camp as well, but their brother or sister must be the actual client of the New York Foundling. But if that child has a foster sibling or a biological sibling who would like to attend camp, they can attend as well. Children must be between the ages of 8 and 13 if they're first-time campers. If they have been to camp before, then they can come back up to until they're 15. So the 14 and 15-year-olds at camp become CITs. That's counselors in training. That means that they will be treated just like the rest of the campers, and they will have the same application process as the rest of the campers, but they will be given additional responsibilities to assist counselors and learn leadership skills. At 16 years old, our youth can come as volunteers to the camp, and they can assist counselors with daily tasks and supervision of campers. The same for 17-year-olds, and then at 18, they can become counselors and apply for a job with the camp. Transportation. We provide 2 pickup and drop-off locations for all of our staff and for all of our campers. This year, the Bronx location is new. We're going to be picking up and dropping off at the new Bronx building located at 501 Southern Boulevard, between Union Avenue and Prospect Avenue. And the Manhattan location will be the same as last year, and that'll be at our 590 headquarters building in Chelsea. We will have buses coming on Monday morning, arriving at the location around 8:30 and leaving by 9 a.m. So that means all the parents and children must arrive no later than 8:30. And then on Fridays, they will be getting in around anywhere between 3 and 5 p.m. It just depends on the traffic that day. I want to mention something about the process for transportation. So once the camper's attendance is confirmed, the case planners will get an email with information about bus location and arrival departure times for the bus. On Mondays, buses depart from the specified location, and if a camper has been assigned to the Bronx bus, they must show up at the Bronx bus. If they were assigned to the Manhattan bus, they have to show up at the Manhattan bus. Campers or parents who don't show up in time, unfortunately, will not be able to attend camp that week. The bus will not wait for late arrivals unless they want to get the camper up to the camp on their own by taking the train or driving them. That's fine, but otherwise they will not be able to go to camp if they arrive late. On Fridays, if parents don't arrive on time to pick up the children, we will have staff who will stay behind and will wait with the camper until the parent shows up. Now, if the parent fails to pick up the child shortly after the bus arrives and doesn't designate another person to pick up the child, we will notify the case planner, the supervisor, and the management staff, and we will make arrangements to get the child home or to another safe location. There are some serious repercussions for parents who fail to pick up their children, including contacting ACS or calling in a report of child neglect to SCR. So parents must be there on Fridays to pick up their children. Let's talk a little bit about Camp Felix staff. Our staff are all seasonal. They come and they work with us for 5 weeks, 1 week of training and 4 weeks of camp. They are trained for a full 7 days in the office and at camp. And their training includes therapeutic crisis intervention, safety emergency procedures, behavior management, conflict resolution, incident reporting, child abuse and maltreatment, child development, discipline, much more. They go through a lot of training. And what I'm trying to say is that our staff are all 100% qualified and trained for their position and ready to take care of our campers. All of our camp staff are screened. They undergo the same background checks and fingerprinting process as all of our New York Foundling staff. The Camp Felix positions have all been posted on the New York Foundling website, and we still do have some openings. So if you know anybody who's interested in applying, let them know to go online and apply for those positions. So this is the daily format at Camp Felix. As you can see, the days are jam-packed with all kinds of excitement. It's very important we keep our daily format very structured. Timeliness and punctuality are definitely two important skills that our campers will learn at camp. This is an example of just some of the activities that we do at camp. So everything from sports to visual and performing arts, campfires, rock climbing wall. We have a rock climbing wall. We have musical instruments that we will teach. We have teachers who come in and teach them how to play. We do all kinds of nature activities. They go swimming in the pool, yoga, poetry, so much more, as much as we can possibly squeeze into a week of camp. This is all really good information to share with parents of potential campers, especially if they're first-time campers and they're a little nervous about camp. Safety plan. So I get a lot of questions from parents who are concerned about camp and they ask about safety. And I think it's really important to let them know that safety is our number one concern at Camp Felix. We have a detailed safety plan which is submitted to the Putnam County Department of Health every year. The Department of Health also comes in and inspects the campgrounds many times before and during the summer season. And if anyone, including parents, who would like to see a copy of the safety plan, please let them know that I am happy to share the plan with them. They can just give me a call or shoot me an email and I can send it over. At the beginning of each session, all of our campers go through orientation to learn about all necessary safety precautions and emergency procedures. And all of our staff have up-to-date certifications as per Department of Health requirements. So as you can see, we do our very best to ensure that all campers have the best possible experience at Camp Felix. But in order to get them there, it's essential that we enlist the help of all staff members and all family members who are involved in that child's life. We need to help them prepare for camp. When a case planner and supervisor receive a confirmation email stating that the child's application is complete and confirming that child's session dates, they will also receive a few important pieces of information in English and in Spanish. One of those pieces will be a list of what to pack for camp. The other piece of information will be detailed directions to the bus pickup and drop off locations, whether it's Manhattan or the Bronx. And we will also include the bus arrival and departure times. They will also receive Camp Felix contact information should they need to contact someone at camp while it's in session. It's very important that these items be given to the parent, guardian, foster parent, and it's helpful if the case planner goes through this information with them. So we ask for the case planner's help to ensure the families receive all this information, that they understand all this information, that they're prepared for camp, and they can help their children prepare for camp. And most importantly, we need to make sure they show up on time for the scheduled bus departure. We have to remind them by phone, email, text, home visit, whatever is possible. We have a lot of no-shows every week, and it is really unfortunate because too many plans become very messy when we count on 50 kids to show up and instead we have 35 kids that show up. And meanwhile, we've said no to all these other kids who wanted to come because we thought we were already at 50. So we just need to make sure that whatever session the children have signed up for, that's the session that they attend and they show up on time for the bus. And if things change, we just need to make those changes in advance. So we are trying to avoid the no-shows. We will also have camp staff who will make reminder phone calls to the families as well and let them know, remind them that they need to be at the bus on Monday. But sometimes we don't have the most updated contact information, as many of our families change phone numbers so often. So we do ask the case planners to please try and help us with that. Let's talk a little bit about the camper sick policy. So in order to help us avoid campers being sent home from camp, which does happen, we have to make sure that the campers come to camp feeling well. And I can't tell you how many times campers actually arrive at camp already being sick. So the number one thing to do is to make sure that let the parents know that if the child is not feeling well, please let them know not to send the child to camp, and we can always help them reschedule to a different session. In instances when a camper must be sent home from camp due to illness, so if they got sick during camp and they have to be sent home, if it's something contagious, the camp director will contact the parent or guardian and will also contact the case planner and supervisor to let them know about the situation. If the parent is able to pick up the camper, then those arrangements are made with the parent. If they're not able to pick up the camper, transportation must be arranged by the case planner and supervisor. So I suggest that a meeting be held within your departments with your supervisors, with your staff, to talk about a plan in advance so that in case something happens where a child does get sick and have to be sent home, there is some sort of a system in place or a plan in place that can help get that child home. And of course, if you need help developing a plan like this or talking about this a little bit further, feel free to contact me and I can help figure out the best course of action. One more thing I wanted to mention about medications. So since we're talking about sick campers, we have a lot of our campers on medication, which is totally fine. But we have to make sure that they bring all the medication to the camp. So whatever medication information is on their application form, it has to be accurate. Whatever the doctor put there has to be accurate. And whatever they bring to the camp has to match what's on the application. So if they come to camp with something different than what's on that application that the doctor filled out, we're going to have a problem. So this is very important. Many of our campers show up at the bus without the medications that were indicated on the medical forms, or some show up without medications at all or with different medications. It's kind of a mess. So it's really important to make sure that there's a signature from the prescribing doctor in order to administer any medication. We have to have a signature from the prescribing doctor in order to administer medication to campers. So medications brought onto the bus must match what we have in our records. Another important factor I wanted to mention is that many of our campers, especially first-timers, are nervous about camp. And we try to do our best to make sure they feel comfortable during their stay and that they're able to take full advantage of camp activities. But we do expect that many of our campers will experience behavioral or emotional problems while at camp. That's totally understandable. It's a new environment and we are equipped to deal with that. It does help us tremendously if we are informed about any recent traumas or special circumstances or recent changes that may have occurred in the child's life, something that is causing them to have behavioral or emotional issues. Things like placement changes, parent hospitalizations or incarcerations or things like that. So I ask if there is a significant event that happens in the child's life right before they come to camp, please let the staff know. You can just let me know and I will make sure that that information makes it to the camp. Okay, so those were just some side notes, and now we're going to talk about the frequently asked questions. The first question is a camper allowed to attend Camp Felix if he or she takes medication? The answer is yes. I just talked about that. They can definitely attend camp if they take medication. They have to make sure they bring that medication with them, and we have to make sure that the doctor signed off on the medical forms. Is a camper allowed to attend Camp Felix if he or she has special needs? So we make decisions about campers with special needs on a case-by-case basis. It really depends. We expect that most of our campers will have some special needs like learning disabilities, mental or cognitive impairment, different things like that, mental health diagnoses. That's normal. But we make sure that we want to make sure that the physical environment of camp and the activities that take place at camp are going to allow for each child to have a great time at camp. We want to make sure they can enjoy camp to the fullest. So in situations when you're not sure if a camper is appropriate for Camp Felix, I urge you to give me a call in advance before you even start the application process and talk to me about the camper, and we can discuss any accommodations that need to be made, and we can also discuss whether or not that camper is appropriate for camp or maybe not. The third question asks about supplies that campers need to bring to camp with them. There aren't really any specific things that we require for parents to buy for their child specifically for camp. We really don't want the parent to spend money on the camp. So we're going to provide a list of what the child should bring to camp. But if there's things on that list the parent does not have, that's okay. Whatever they don't bring with them, we will supply it. We make sure to have a lot of things in camp, like, towels, bathing suits, flip-flops, sunglasses, hats, water bottles, and different things like that our campers might not come to camp with that we know they need. So we will provide them with all these items at camp. Question number 4, this asks about exceptions to the age restrictions for Camp Felix. So I mentioned that campers must be between the ages of 8 and 13 as first-time campers, and 14, 15-year-olds as returning campers can come back as CITs, counselors in training. And unfortunately, we cannot make any exceptions to that rule because those are set forth by the Department of Health. Question number 5, is it possible to enroll a camper after the application deadline has passed? The answer is no. Unfortunately, I don't want to say no. We're going to make exceptions for children who, let's say they just got admitted to the New York Foundling and they want to go to camp. We're going to make exceptions for these campers if space allows. But generally, we're going to be accepting applications until the deadline. After the deadline, we're going to be placing everybody on the waiting list. Okay. So you should receive a copy of this PowerPoint presentation, and if you don't, or if you haven't received it, just let me know and I will give you a copy. This slide here shows my contact information, so please feel free to contact me anytime with questions. The best way to reach me is via email. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to jump right into the application. So I'm going to walk you step by step through the application process. The application is quite extensive. It's 12 pages long. So I'm going to go through and fill it out as if I am a parent or a case planner filling it out for a camper. This first page is a cover page and it serves as a checklist. So once you are finished filling out the application, you're going to go through this checklist and check off all these boxes to make sure that you have filled out everything that needs to be filled out. So the first part asks about sessions. So which sessions do we want to go to? We can sign up for up to 2 sessions. I'm going to say that I'm going for session 1 and session 2. Which bus are we taking? Manhattan Bronx or Bronx bus? It's really important that you check off one of them. I'm going to say that I'm taking the Bronx bus. Now we're going to type in all the general information about the camper. So the camper's last name, Smith. Camper's first name, we'll say Jane. Date of birth, we'll say the date of birth is February 1st, 1998. Let's make it 97. We'll make that child 10 years old. And we want to make sure that the age we put here is the age that the child will be in camp in July 2017. So if their birthday is in June and you're filling out this application in March, you want to calculate the age of how old they're going to be turning in June. Current grade in school, so let's say they're in 4th grade, and it's a female. Address where the camper lives. We're going to type an address. I'm not going to pay much attention to that right now. That's pretty self-explanatory. Put in city, state, zip. Name of the parent or guardian with whom the camper lives. So we're going to say Mary Smith. And what is the relationship of Mary Smith? So we're going to say Mary Smith is the well, let's say she's a foster parent, but she's the aunt. So she's a kinship foster parent. So we want to put that in here, make sure that we are putting in all the details. We're going to put in her cell phone number, her email address, if she has an email address. Will the camper be moving before camp starts? This is important because we want to make sure we have up-to-date camper information. And I'm going to say no. Siblings attending camp? No. Emergency contact information is really important. So this family has to choose someone who is not the parent to be their emergency contact. So I'm going to say John Jones at this address. And this is his cell phone number. And that is going to be our emergency contact. Now, if there's someone who's not authorized to pick up the camper or to have any contact with the camper, let's say there's a restraining order against someone, we need that person's information, their name, and the relationship to the child. That would be right here. So camper information, this is really important just to let us know a little bit about who the camper is, give us a little bit of a backstory. So how long has this camper been in foster care? We're going to say 5 years. Responsibilities at home, cleaning up toys, washing dishes, favorite hobbies, dancing and singing. Has a child ever been away from home for more than 2 days? I'm going to say she has. We definitely pay closer attention to campers who have not been away from home before, so that's an important piece of information to give us. And was it an enjoyable experience? Yes. Activities at camp. She likes dancing and singing and sports. And we're going to say she's sensitive but easygoing. All right. Next page, more information about the camper. Does the child get along with others? Fairly easily. Prefers friends her own age. And are there any problems with the child, like wandering or attitude or paying attention? Well, 10 years old, we're going to say she has a bit of a trouble paying attention. Okay, physical health. Sleeping habits. She's a light sleeper and she gets about 8 hours of sleep. Any allergies? She's allergic to peanuts. Any specific diets? None. Bedwetter? No. A lot of the younger children that come to camp are bedwetters, and it is important to let us know in this section. Should the camper be taken to the toilet at night? No. Any activity restrictions or health concerns? I'm going to say that there aren't any for this child. And we're going to move on to mental health. Now, this is really important because a lot of our children do have mental health issues, and it's really important for us to know in advance what the things are that we need to pay attention to. We're going to let our counselors know that if we have children who have behavior disorders or who have ADHD or have experienced severe trauma, we're going to let them know that these campers are going to require a little bit of attention and a little bit of extra patience and things like that. So we will be better prepared to deal with any issues that might arise if we know about them in advance, if we know about some of the difficulties that child might be having. So this will be the area to let us know. So I'm going to say that this child has been diagnosed with ADHD and is currently seeking help from a mental health professional. And that doctor's name is Dr. Tom. And his phone number. Taking any medication to treat ADHD? Yes, she is taking Adderall. I'm not sure if I'm spelling that right. Okay, Adderall. Has camper experienced any abuse in the past? We're going to say physical abuse. Has camper had issues with running away? No. Has camper had issues with violence or aggression towards others? No. Has camper ever been a danger to him or herself? No. Has camper ever had issues with drugs or alcohol? No. Any other dangerous or inappropriate behavior that we should know about? Well, we should say she sometimes hits her foster siblings. Something to look out for. Any issues with obeying authority figures? Yes. Has trouble obeying foster mom. Are there any significant life changes currently affecting the camper's life? So I'm going to say that currently there is nothing. But if there was something, I would want to describe it in some detail right here. What do we hope the camper, how do we hope Camp Felix can help the camper, help her feel calm and happy, get along better with others? And what would we like for her to learn at camp? How to follow rules and listen to authority figures, since it seems like she has issues with that. Now this is the area where you'll put in the case planner information. So the region, the program, the case planner name, the phone number. I'm not going to go through and fill everything out, but basically you'll put in the case planner information and the supervisor information. And please let me know here if this case will be closed before camp starts. So if it's going to be closed, check off yes. If it's not, check off no. If it's maybe, you can just write in maybe. Page 3 is the consent of the parent. So it has to be the biological parent. So let's say, for instance, this particular child, Jane, she is in foster care. We're going to go and we're going to ask the biological parent to sign. Unless that child has been freed for adoption, and in that case, an agency representative must sign. So that would be the AVP or the program director of your program would sign the application for that child. But here, we're going to say that bio mom signed here, and the relationship of the child we're going to put in is bio mom, and the date is 3/21/17. Okay, page 4. Now this is where we need the parent, guardian, case planner, whoever is helping fill out the application. We need them to complete this page with all the medical information that they have. So, Jane Jones, date of birth is 2/7/1997. I just realized that makes her 20 years old. So we're going to change that to 2007. And that makes her 10 years old. That's okay. This just shows you that if you make a mistake, you can always go back and fix it. 2007. And it's 2/1/2007. All right. So here we are back to the medical pages, and her date of birth is February 1st, 2007, and she's 10 years old. And her physician is Dr. Rob. Making things up as I go along here. And her dentist is going to be Dr. Pat. And we're going to put in their phone numbers here for both the physician and the dentist. Now we're going to fill this out, and we have to make sure that either yes or no is checked off. We cannot leave any blanks. So we're going to go through real quick, and we're going to say allergy. Yes, she has an allergy to peanuts. Allergies are really important for us to know about. Obviously, we want to, if the child is allergic to something, we want to know about it. So yes, she has an epinephrine pen. And does she have any other conditions that require special medical care? No. Asthma? No. Contact lenses? Seizure disorders, diabetes, heart trouble, bleeding, dentures, bonded teeth, any serious medical illnesses or injuries? No. And then here we're going to just go through, and again we're going to make sure that either yes or no is checked off here. Ear infections, eye infections, respiratory problems, all these different medical problems. We're going to say Jane does not suffer from these, and she has not had chicken pox or mumps, and has not been exposed to a contagious disease within the past 3 weeks, has not had lice. That's a really big one. If somebody does have lice or has had lice in the past 6 months, we need to know about that. And Jane has not started menstruating yet. And has she been told about menstruation? Yes, we're going to check off yes. And again, we're going to do the signature of the biological parent. So the biological parent has to sign that page and put the date here. The next page, which is page 5, and the page after that, which is page 6, both of those have to be completed by the doctor, and it says it right here, page 5 and 6, completed by the physician. So I would say the first thing that the parent should do when they get this application is get the pages 5 and 6 to their doctor and schedule an appointment to have a physical so that the doctor can fill out these pages. The physical must be at least a year old, so it can be from like 2 years ago. That won't really be recent enough for our needs. We need to really make sure that the child is in good health, and we need the doctor to fill this form out and everything to be accurate. So the doctor will fill out this form. When you get it back from the doctor, you really need to go through and make sure all of this is filled out. Oftentimes doctors leave things empty. So for example, here they have to check off yes or no. They cannot leave anything blank. Allergies, they would put allergies right here. Any limitations on activities or other orders. Medications, this is a really important section. So they need to, any medication that the child is taking needs to be written down right here by the doctor, including dosages. Any over-the-counter medication that the doctor allows us to give them. So there's times when we might have to give them over-the-counter medication at camp that would be administered by our camp nurse. We need to know, has the doctor allowed it? Yes, or has the doctor not allowed it? So either yes or no has to be circled here or checked off. We cannot leave any of these blank. We need to know about emergency medication, so EpiPens and inhalers, yes or no. And then here, doctor would fill out his or her information, and usually they will put a stamp here, or they will fill in their license number. Sorry about that, my page is just skipped backwards. And okay, so down here, the doctor fills this out and signs it. We have to make sure that the physician's signature is here. Down here is the HIPAA privacy statement. So this gives us permission to talk to the doctor if we need to talk to them about any specific medical issue. And then again, the bio parent will sign right down here. So the bio parent signs here and puts the date. Moving on to page 7. Page 7 is basically a placeholder for your health insurance card and immunization records. Every camper has to have an attached copy of their health insurance card and their immunization records. This form is really important. So this form should be given either to the parent or to the case planner or to the guardian for them to hold on to, so that if there are changes between the time that the application is completed and the time that the camper actually goes to camp, this form can be filled out. And by changes, I mean any serious medical changes, any serious illnesses or injuries or medication changes. Medication changes, that's a big one. Any medication that has been changed between the time that the application was completed by the doctor and the time that the camper actually comes to camp, that needs to be stated on this form. So in June, I will send a reminder to everybody to please fill out this form if there's any changes. This form has to be given to the doctor because the doctor has to sign right down here, and then the parent has to sign down here. So if there's changes right before camp starts, we need this form. The next page, you can skip this page here. You can just throw it in the garbage. The next page is page 9, and that is our summer food service program form. So our camp participates in the summer food service program with the Department of Education, which means that we get reimbursed for feeding any child who meets income eligibility for the summer food service program, which is the same as the reduced or free lunch program at school. So all we need is for if a child is in foster care, they can skip this page completely because they are automatically eligible for this program. So we don't need them to fill out this page at all. But if the child is not in foster care, so any other program, we need the camper's name right here. If they receive any kind of public assistance, food stamps, or TANF for any of the other public assistance programs, they need to fill it out right here. They need to put their case number. So we're going to say the case number is this. Now, if they're not receiving public assistance, they need to list all the family members right here. So foster child, foster parent, whatever other parent there might be in the house, siblings, etc. And put their earnings here. Their earnings must be, so they might have to say the amount and they have to say the frequency. So is it $500 a month, $500 a week, $500 bi-weekly, whatever it is, that needs to be here. All that information needs to be here. And once that income information is completed, they just go right down here, sign, print the name, date, address, phone number, social security, last 4 digits of the social security number. That's really important. If they don't have a social security number, so if they're undocumented and they don't have a social security number, then just have them check off this box right here. All right. They don't have to worry about the bottom portion of this page. That is for office use only. This page here can just be given to the parents for their information. It says it right here on the top that it's for parents' information only. We are mandated by the Department of Education to give this page to all of our parents to tell them about the summer food service program. So give that to them, let them read it, and they can just hold on to it, or they can throw it out, whatever they feel like doing. And we're down to the last page of the application, and this is the easiest one. It is the photo consent. So we take a lot of photos and videos of our children at the camp, and if the parents don't want us to, that's fine. They can just leave this page blank and not worry about it. But if they do want to give us permission, and we really do appreciate it if they can give us permission, we would never allow the photos to be used in any kind of malicious way. They are mostly for PR purposes. They go on our website, things like that. And we like to share photos with donors and sponsors. So if the parent wants to give us consent, they would fill this out. They would put their name, whatever address they live at, the child's name, and then they will go right down here and sign. You don't really need to worry about the witness signature. I can always sign as the witness, so don't worry about that. But we do need a date, so we're gonna say the 21st of March. And that is it. That is the application. So now that I'm done with the application, I'm gonna go all the way back and I'm gonna go through the application with a fine-tooth comb. And I'm going to go through this checklist and make sure that all of this has been done. And I also urge you to do, not just to do this on your own, but to also give the application to someone else in your office, whether it's a colleague or your supervisor. Have someone else double check it before you send it to me. I can't tell you how many applications I get that are incomplete and I have to either return them or I have to go back and forth a gazillion times with the case planner or the parent trying to collect all the missing pieces, and it just makes things more complicated for everybody involved. So it's really important that this application is complete. And once it's complete, just go ahead and scan and email it to me. And it's okay if you just send me the application without the medical forms. I totally understand that doctors take a little bit longer to complete the medical forms. So just send me everything else, and then you can send me the medical forms a little bit later once you get it from the doctor. If you have any questions, you have my contact information. It's right here. This is my phone number. This is my email. And I urge you to definitely come to me with any questions you might have. I am available to talk at any time. And I can also do a conference call and talk to some of your staff or a group of people, whatever you need. I am here to try to make this process as easy as possible for everybody and to get all your campers in to Camp Felix, make sure they have a good time this summer and that everybody's happy. So thank you for listening to this very long training. I hope that it helped you, and I hope to talk to you soon. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.